commentary regarding hiking, pump price, a lot of hike here and there, and, Nigerians are groaning. What do you have to say about this? Do you think these economic reforms are actually working?
Well, thank you very much for having me once again. It is not really the best times in Nigeria as we speak. And that is because I will be speaking as a Nigerian. I'll leave the toga of a representative as a member of the parliament. That is because everything that happens in Nigeria affects me, affects my family, my siblings, my parents. And if I don't put myself in their shoes and the shoes of millions of Nigerians out there, then we will not be telling ourselves the truth. And the agency that is at the fulcrum of all this is NNPCL. If you recall, about a month ago, in August 19 precisely, NNPCL came and told the whole world that they've made a profit of about 3.2 trillion naira net profit. And barely 3 weeks after, they came up with another publication that they are in debt of about 6.8 billion US dollars. Does it make sense? And for the past 2-3 months, Nigerians have been on the queue in different filling stations across the nation. And NNPCL, if you ask me, their sole responsibility, which is critical to Nigerians, is to make PMS and other petroleum products available to Nigerians. And if you fail in your critical responsibility and assignment, I, Clement Jimbo, will consider you a failure, and you do not deserve to be in that position for another 1 second. Does it make sense? Since Nigeria had independence, and since the establishment of federal government-owned refinery, which has not been working for the past 23 years or 28 years, we have a patriotic Nigerian who conceptualized, bring to bed, and stood his ground to make sure Nigeria, as an oil-producing nation, is reckoned among the Committee of Nations with a functional refinery. And now that we have a functional refinery ready and is producing all the different petroleum products, it is now that NNPCL is coming with all this nonsense. It's quite unfortunate that Clement Jimbo is not the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I would have shown him the way out long time ago. But
speaking about that, nobody even bargained for this hike, and Nigerians keep asking, what is going on? What is going on? Do you think the government, by any chance, is taking the people for granted?
When you say the government, that is being generalized. It is NNPC that is taking the people of Nigeria for granted. We have to be very specific. Because when you say government, I'm part of the government. And I'm not taking my constituency for granted. Many of the House of Representative members, senators, are not taking Nigerians for granted. We must put the blame where it belongs. It is called NNPCL. Let the management of NNPCL come out to Nigeria and explain to us the debt that they are talking about they are owing after they have declared a profit of trillions of naira. Does it make sense? Now, let me break it down a little. Before the president and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria declared that subsidy was gone in May 29, 2023, how much was the PMS, a liter of PMS? It was about 258 naira. And they were still making profit. All the retail outlets were still making profit. Now, when the president announced that, the price went up to about 550 naira per liter, signifying an increment of 231% increase. Now, profit, they were still making profit. Are you telling me sat when the price of PMS jumped from 258 to 550 naira, NNPCL was still paying subsidy? That is a question the managing director of NNPCL should come and tell Nigerians. And the date you are declaring now, who authorized it? Where is it coming from? Now that we have a functional refinery, that you will not need to export our crude offshore. You are not paying for vessels. You are not paying for security to police the vessels from Nigeria to other countries. You are not paying for all the other operational costs that is attached to the export of crude. And you are not paying for every other cost that is attached to import of refined petroleum product to Nigeria. All those costs have been cut away. And you are now telling us that the petroleum price should be increased from 600 and something to 800 and something.
When National Assembly finally resumes, are we going to see legislators engage these authorities in the petroleum sector and also possibly ensure that there's a slash in these prices?
Trust me, if the managing director of NNPCL stays in that office when we resume from recess, Clement Jimbo will be the person that will move a motion for him to be sacked immediately.
So are you calling for the sack
I'm calling for the sack of the managing director of NNPCL. And of course the management staff, because it's not alone.
But don't you think that is too harsh a decision?
No, it's
Maybe
not too
there's
harsh.
something...
When you are saddled with a responsibility and you have consistently failed, for crying out loud, what are you still doing there? You are a presenter in TVC. That is what you are paid to do. So if you fail to present, what do you think the management will do to you? To sit you down here to wave the bench? No. The cameramen here are paid to make sure they roll the camera at right angles. So if they fail to do that, you are not the only one. Nigerians have suffered enough. We cannot keep paying for the inefficiency of NNPCL. He's not the only one. Before now, there were other people.
All right, well, let's move on to other matters. Insecurity in some certain parts of the country, you know, continues to deteriorate lately, even when we have seen the Minister of State for Defense in the military leading a campaign, you know, against the armed bandits in Sokoto and other parts of the country. And even though so many people have described this as a media stunt, but why does it seem that all measures put in shocking all these security challenges seem to have defied all odds?
Nothing happens in isolation. Right now, the food crisis in Nigeria is insecurity. It's all leading to the security challenge we have. The scarcity of petroleum products, PMS, in Nigeria as we speak is all not isolated from the security situation in Nigeria. So we should holistically look at it. The president has given a marching order, which is the right thing to do. And the security chiefs have heeded to that instruction by moving to where it matters. And we have seen that translated into so many successes in that area. But if we fail to do the things that we should do, it will only be a matter of time. The successes will be eroded because people cannot be hungry for a very long time without thinking on ways to survive. It is a natural human instinct.
So you're saying the food security also has a role?
Absolutely.
Well, there's so much that the government can do, but also coming back to the people, do you think they also have a role to play? Because, you know, once they hear there's a hike in something, and before it even reflects in, you know, the cost of maybe their goods, you see a rapid hike. Do you think they also have a role to play?
We need to be patriotic. We need to love our country and love ourselves. If we don't exhibit that, show that characteristics in us, every good intention of government will be thwarted by the unpatrioticness of Nigerians. The people play critical roles in translating government policies into fruition, which translate into the prosperity of a nation. The security that we have in Nigeria, if Nigerians today decide to end all forms of insecurity, it will end. If Nigerians decide to make sure every laws that we have enacted in this country towards the development of this country progresses. It will end. Let me talk to Nigerians. The day I discovered that if you have 1 billion naira cash, whether in the bank or in your house, and you decide to spend 50,000 naira every day from that money, it will take you nothing less than 50 years before you will finish spending 1 billion naira. 50 years. I am sitting down here more than 40 years. So if I have 1 billion naira, will I need 50 years to expend it? That this is a country that there are people that have 1 billion naira, 10 billion naira, $10 billion. The other day, the former accountant general was caught with 90-something billion naira. The other time, it was seen in an offshore account in Texas. Somebody put in about 68 billion US dollars. For crying out loud, where do you intend to spend this money? You have a role to play. I am playing my own role. I equally need your support from your own role for things to work. And I know it can work. The president needs all the support. We must give him all the support to succeed, because the president does not see any joy in seeing that any Nigerian suffers. And we must support the president to succeed, because right now he's our president and he has to be there for the next 4 years.
All hands must be on deck to ensure that the president succeeds. But we'll continue this conversation after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. We still have more for you on the program. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Officially submitted to the House. I'm not too sure whether it has been listed for first reading yet. I'm not too sure, but I've listened to so many press conferences with regards to that. Well, Clement Jimbo stands for anything good and anything progressives. And even the wisdom of Nigerians that we should go back to the parliamentary system of government, it will be fantastic. What that really means is that, for example, at the local government level, where elections are conducted, everybody vie for the position of councillorship. Then when they get into the House, they now elect whoever becomes their chairman. That would be fantastic. And I don't see anything wrong in that, but until the bill is officially presented to the House and it is listed for second reading, which is actually the point where opportunities are given to members to debate on the general principles and merits and demerits of the bill, then we will look at all sides. And of course, even at that level, there will be a public hearing where the critical stakeholders are invited to equally play their critical role in terms of observing what is right and what is not right before it finally becomes an act.
And do you think Nigeria is ready for this kind of transition?
Currently, we are operating a presidential system. If we have not maximized in total the benefit of running a presidential system of government, will it be a nice idea for us to tiptoe back to parliamentary system of government? I will tell you no. And right now I will tell you, like, as a person, I will not really support, so to say, that we should move into the parliamentary system of government. All
right, you moved the motion in the House on the need to curtail the incessant arrest and harassment of journalists. Do you also agree that press freedom is increasingly threatened even under a democratic administration? I believe
completely so. I believe, yes, that motion, I was the one that moved. That was because I took a cursory look. In the last administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, I think about 15 different cases of journalists being molested, arrested, harassed in the course of the official duties. And I look at the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the last 1 year, about 10 of such cases have been reported. I said no, because if you are a good student of history, you look at what has happened behind. You see what is happening now, then you can predict what is likely going to happen in the nearest future. It is only stupid people that make history to repeat itself, because bad history we should learn from and avert it from happening. So when something negative is following a particular trend, as intelligent people, as people that wish well for the nation, you need to voice it out. So when I saw that negative trend, I said, no, the security agencies need to be called to order. And if you look at the provision of the Cyber Crimes Act that they are leveraging, we have long amended that very clause and defined what constitutes a cyber crime. So people that go about expressing their professional responsibilities as journalists should not be harassed, should not be molested. They should allow them to speak.
Even the fact that journalists are considered being in the fourth estate of the realm, why do you think that there's so much, disregard for their duties and, so much, will I call it, acrimony against journalists?
There is what is called investigative journalism. And to the best of my knowledge, journalism practice in Nigeria have been lacking in that core responsibility. For example, what is happening in Nigeria today, if we had had a robust and effective investigative journalism, there are so many people that will be behind bars today, including our governors. For example, look at the former governor of Kogi State. It has been issued arrest warrant. Let the whole media houses in Nigeria sit on that case and until he is smoked out to face the responsibilities of his action as chief executive in Kogi State.
Let's come back to your constituency. How has your engagement been with your constituents in this past few days? What are the issues they are having to deal with, and how, are you also reassuring them that they should keep hopes alive?
Fantastic. Just like the last hunger protest that happened in pockets of states across the nation, my constituency is one of the constituencies across the 360 constituencies that did not participate because I was visibly on ground. In fact, within that period, by the grace of God, I sat on the agency in what has been appropriated for my constituency in the 2024 budget. I sat on the agency to make sure they award the contract to whoever that qualified for the contract to be awarded, and we kick off the training within that same period. Close to over 200 of our youth were trained with various kinds of skill. And I sat on the podium there and I talked to them. On the coming protest, none of you should participate because this is the effort of government and it's translating into productivity in your life. So don't join whoever. And they did not. They did not. So it is part of our responsibility to make sure we publicize the effort of government that we know for our people to know and equally key in. But if the people does not support the policies of the man that is in charge to translate into prosperity for the citizens, it is the citizens that suffers, and not the president, not the governors, not the ministers, and to some greater extent, not even the lawmakers. So, but we owe government and our people the duty to always relate with our people what government is thinking, because by virtue of our position, we have an inclination into the thinking of government. It is in us to translate those thinking for the people to know and begin to adjust themselves to reap the full benefit of that thought.
Well, on a final note, how has your representation also helped meet the needs or some of the socio-economic needs of your people and attract government presence to their constituencies?
To the best of my knowledge, for the past 1 year and about a month or two, Clement Jimbo has lived out effective representation to my people, shared responsibility, shared prosperity for my people, and responsible leadership, which I promised them throughout my electioneering campaign. To the best of my knowledge, we've trained over 1,000 of our youth, both male and female, across different sectors. Is it ICT? Is it on agriculture? Is it on cosmetology? Is it on silk plastering? Electrical? We have done that. And we have given incentive, scholarship, bursary, to thousands of students, to the best of my knowledge. And all these things are on social media. I'm not just making noise about it. As we speak, there is a silk plastering training going on, the second batch. We have just finished the first batch about 2 weeks ago. We are going into the second batch. It's ongoing as we speak. across different, and this training comes with a grant. We've given laptop to students. So we've given cars, we've given palliative rice in their thousands of bags, we've given fertilizers. So there is nothing that the federal government make available for my constituency that they don't benefit. And that is why they trust me. They have this confidence that indeed Clement Jimbo is doing the very best that he has done, especially if you put what we have achieved within 1 year side by side with those that have equally occupied that office for 4 years, 8 years. Our record stands out.
That is all we have for you on the Hello Chambers this week. You can watch a repeat broadcast at 7 a.m. on Sunday, and you can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms to be first to get breaking news and updates on activities of the legislature and other parliamentary issues. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adeoye. See you next time.